I've come here to talk about my book, which is about feminism, called How to Be a Woman, but it's not that other kind of feminism that's a bit scary and awful. This is funny feminism that's mainly just about ridiculous things to call your breasts and the fact that pants are too small now and often end up inside you. Germaine Greer didn't really tackle that, I felt, in The Female Eunuch. I'm looking forward to seeing someone with a pret-a-manger that's open without a massive queue in it, so I can get some lunch. I'm looking forward to seeing a taxi driver who can get me to the train station in time. I'm looking forward to seeing my kids when I get back. I haven't had time to see anything at all. Although I just bumped into Mark Thomas around the corner, who's looking really, really handsome and buff, and also dressed like some kind of landed gent in a flat cap. And as I remember, knickerbockers, which I wasn't expecting to see. It actually suits him. I've been reading How to Leave Twitter by Grace Dent, which is enormously funny, as all I do is spend my entire time on Twitter. Having a book that's about Twitter is great, because I can actually read a book about Twitter, tweet about it on Twitter, then just get back to being on Twitter. It's basically I live on Twitter. What else I read? I've just finished reading John Niven's Kill Your Friends, which is about the British music industry, indie music industry in the mid-90s, which is enormously funny. I was around for Britpop, and he's written a book which is all about that. And for me, happiness is just someone mentioning the 1996 band Salad in an amusing context, so I found that book enormously pleasurable. And I've also been reading Dorian Lynskey's 33.5 Revolutions per Minute, which is about protest songs and political music, which is basically the cleverest book I have ever read, and it's this thick. And after reading 10 pages, I just thought I'm going to have to buy this on Kindle now, or else I will start looking like Jane Haystacks, and it's more of a workout than a book. But now reading it on my iPhone, it's much more manageable. I went to a place called The Caves, and it was so damp that I think it might actually be underwater. I think it might be a venue that's in Atlantis. I'm not quite sure how we got there. I also wonder what happens to all these venues the rest of the year, because you just don't need like 6,000 fringe venues that seat up to 73 people. And what are they? I mean, I think the place I was in last night was actually part of the waterworks or the sewage system. I can't believe that it was usually a building. It had simply been adapted for the length of the festival and would simply revert to being back to a tunnel or a pipe at the end of the week. It's called Just the Tonic, and it was in the caves, and it was so wet. And one really thoughtful stand-up comedian had decided to try and make the place smell a little bit less like death and plague by putting a single Glade Air plug-in freshener in the wall. And it was like, dude, I think this building's been here since about 1500, and they might have killed like Roundheads and Cavaliers in here or something. I don't think one Airwick's going to sort out your massive damp problem. This place basically has a current. It is wet. My festival recommendation is a show called Armageddapocalypse 2, The Explosioning, which is by a group of young comedy writers, which is on Just the Tonic, which basically they're all massive fans of action films and Batman and stuff like this, but they also realise that essentially, for instance, Batman is a man dressed up as a bat being punched in the balls by a man dressed up as a clown, and you can't really pretend that it's anything other than that at the end of the day. So it's done with an enormous love of action films, but it's also very, very silly. And I recommend that firstly because it's incredibly funny, and secondly because my brother's in it and I financed it, and if we don't break even, I ain't going on a holiday next year. So I would urge everyone to go buy a ticket for that one, or my children will starve.